Good evening, ladies and germs. Welcome to Strings and Pages. I am Kevin Sullivan, your host. And we are headed well underway into the Rings of Hydra's Great Escape, a dystopian fiction about humanity a few centuries from now. It's not made for children, maybe some mild language, possibly. I forget what's in these chapters. I wrote them a while back. Nevertheless, let's get started on Chapter 14. Chapter 14. Jen looked as gorgeous as she had the first time Joe laid eyes on her. Maybe even more so. Her golden locks bounced on her shoulders, and her piercing eyes shone bright and clear, capable of searching Joe's soul. Even through the glass viewer they communicated using. I wasn't sure this would actually be your code, Joe said jokingly. I was ready to come face to face with some old fat guy. Jen produced the same deep laugh which grabbed Joe's attention that night in the club. Hearing it now made his heart beat stronger. I was tempted, Jen said, just for kicks, but then I wouldn't get to see you again either. I'm glad you called me, Joe. I've been waiting for it. Joe offered the glass a warm smile, one he wished he could give in person. Jen must have wished the same. Do you want to get together, she asked. I certainly do, Joe said, but tonight might not be the best night. I started a new job today, one you told me about. He let this sink in, watched Jen's face as she realized what he was talking about. You mean you got in? She asked. That's great. Oh, I'm so happy for you. But that was really fast. Joe shrugged and said, I guess we've got some important friends. The word friends brought something else to mind. I want to ask you, Jen, he said, how well do you really know Reynolds and the rest of them? Jen thought about the question, then seemed guarded as she answered. I've known them for a little while. They've been coming into the club for the past 3 or so years, back when I started working there. Joe crossed his arms and looked befuddled. I had no idea you worked there. Yeah, it's not the most glamorous job, but it pays the bills. You never asked, so I didn't bring it up. Why do you ask about Reynolds, though? Oh, Joe said. He wondered how well she could see his bruises through the glass, even though they'd already begun to heal. I was curious if they ever gave you any trouble, hounded you or anything like that. Jen laughed, not her gut-busting version. Of course not. They're good people. I'm sure you'd get along with them if you really knew them. Sure, Joe said, as thoughts of getting jumped crossed his mind. Forget I asked. It's not important. Did you get hurt at work? Jen asked. That answers that. She can see the damage. Damn it. Tell her what they did or deflect. Yeah, Joe said. Had a little incident. But hey, that's construction. I'm okay. And I'm just thrilled to see your face again, even if it's through this stupid glass. Joe found himself at the point where he'd run out of things to say. He wanted Jen, not a digital replication of her from the glass. Maybe soon we can get together, he said, just the two of us, if that sounds good, of course. Jen smiled and said, It sounds great, Joe. Talk soon then? Call me whenever, okay? Goodbye. Good night, Jen, he said, and ended the call. She's a looker, Dave said from his bed. Melinda slapped his arm while he cracked up laughing. She clearly likes you, she said. Go get him, Joe, David said with more roaring. Joe's family had heard the whole conversation, not because they wanted to, but simply because there was nowhere for privacy. "This is why I need my own home," Joe said begrudgingly. David clapped his hands. "Then it's a good thing we got new homes on the way." Joe's frown faded into a smile as he thought of the new cubes. They certainly did have new homes coming, nice ones that Melinda had been told of in detail. She still didn't understand how her life was going to change for the better, though. She wouldn't understand until she saw them herself. Back on the job, the brothers were right on time. It was overcast today, with gray clouds rolling in and threatening rain. It didn't matter, though. David and Joe's spirits were bright despite the weather. Today they would be fusing walls. Large sheets of stainless steel were placed around the perimeter by crane, while the workers braced them up together to be welded together at the corners. And though it was still early in the build, the cubes were beginning to take shape. David and Joe's cubes were right next to each other, with a few yards in between them. The alleys were kind of tight, but compared to the fact that their current cubes were connected directly to their neighbors, it was still a major upgrade. Everything about this place was an upgrade. And the Higgins worked hard to make it a reality. One swing and weld at a time, they were getting closer to home. It was time for lunch, the hour allotted to rest and refuel. David had something from home. Melinda typically did the same for Joe, but last night he said he'd try the Roach Coach, just to see what they offered for breakfast. As David ate, Joe decided on a walk. Instead of going straight to the north side entrance, he took a detour around the back row, just to see how close he could get to the ring's edge. What he saw was something he never expected. Most of the ring's edge was closed to the public. A large double fence stopped people from even going near it, let alone over it. But like the rest of this cluster, the fence had to be removed to access and repair the foam underneath. The concrete knee wall had to be replaced, but not the fence. Joe was able to walk right up to the edge, place his hands on the knee wall, and look over the side. The drop was intense. This was no hop down to sea level. Joe picked up a chunk of cement and tossed it over the edge, watched it fall to the bottom. He lost sight of the thing after 5 seconds, as the dizzying view of whitewater from the incoming storm blurred his vision. Then he heard a voice say, "That's one hell of a drop. Be a shame if someone were to fall over." Joe spun around to see who had crept up on him, and he wasn't surprised by the answer. Reynolds, Dizzy, and 3 other workers approached from the only entrance to this area. They walked towards the edge slowly, some with tools in hand, and Dizzy running his mouth. "So this mother not only wants to steal my girl, now he thinks he can take our jobs too." Joe had known these guys were part of this project since that night in the bar, and understood now why they were so hush-hush when someone mentioned work. This didn't bother him, though. The idea that these guys would share this cluster wasn't a big deal. But the idea that they were about to attack him for the second time, and even possibly throw him over this edge, this was disturbing on several levels, the first one of which was the most obvious. He didn't feel like dying today. Luckily for Joe, someone else had decided on the same walk. "Is there a problem back here?" that same someone asked, causing everyone to spin to the opening. David Hagen tossed his entire cup of tea aside and swung a massive wrench over his shoulder. Joe took one step closer to his brother and cracked his neck. David's showing up changed things. The men in Reynolds' group suddenly seemed a bit less threatening and a tad more respectful. None of them answered, and so David asked it again. "Well, is there?" "There is," Reynolds said, "but it's only between two." "Is that why it took your whole crew to solve it the last time you assholes jumped my brother?" Reynolds panned his sides. It was clear his wheels were turning, as it was clear he was rightfully shaken by David's presence. "You're right," he said. "That was uncalled for, and we apologize." Then Reynolds turned to Dizzy and said, "This is your chance, Diz. If you've got beef with this guy, now's the time to let him know." Dizzy looked at Reynolds, then back to Joe. "Fine," he yelled. "You're trying to steal my girl, and I'm not going to stand for it. You leave her alone or I'll—" "You'll what?" Joe asked. He almost felt bad for this guy. His goal was never to hurt anyone else by following his heart. Then again, he also remembered waking up in the street the next morning in a pool of his own blood. "Listen, Dizzy," he said. "I'm sorry if you have a crush on Jen, but—" "Don't say her name!" Dizzy yelled. "Now you're just acting like a damn fool," Joe said. "And the fact is, I'm not going to stop talking to or seeing someone who wants to see me just because—" "Ah!" Dizzy screamed and charged across the grate. "Get him, Joe," David said. "End this." Joe stepped aside from the first charge and snuck a connecting jab to Dizzy's jaw. It stunned him, but Dizzy wasn't done. He turned and quickly threw a front kick to Joe's groin, a cheap shot but effective, that had Joe seeing stars. It was followed by a few haymakers. Some missed but one hit, and Joe stumbled backwards. Little did Dizzy know he was fighting an ox. One-on-one, he didn't stand a chance. Jen's face flashed behind Joe's eyes, followed by this moron telling him he couldn't have her, and Joe saw red. Dizzy thought he was on a roll until Joe grabbed the fifth haymaker, brought Dizzy's hand to his face, and bit his pinky clean off. Joe spit the digit to the ground. The crowd awed, and Joe threw one last stiff shot to Dizzy's nose. "You want to be dizzy?" Joe yelled. "I'll make you dizzy." He thought of the moment these guys had threatened to push him over the ring, then grabbed Dizzy by the shirt. It only took 2 seconds for Joe to rip Dizzy from the ground and hold him up to the ledge. "No!" Reynolds yelled. "Please don't! Please!" David stood ready to whack anyone who took a step towards the two. He knew his brother well enough to know murder wasn't in his soul, but he wanted everyone else to sweat it before seeing Joe's merciful moment. Joe looked Dizzy in the eyes and saw the terror on his face. His missing pinky was the least of his concerns, as he thought he was about to fall hundreds of feet to a windy, wet death. Joe held Dizzy to the wall with one hand and used the other to point at Reynolds and his crew. "Listen up," he yelled. "The Hagens are here now, and we're here to stay. We don't want problems with you people, but you're sure as hell not going to tell us where we can work, where we can live," he looked Dizzy in the face, "or who I can date. You got me?" Dizzy was terrified. "You got me?" Dizzy nodded vigorously. Yeah, Joe, I got you," he said. Joe dropped Dizzy on the ground and walked away. The Hagens passed Thomas on the way out. They heard him ask loudly, "What's going on down here?" They also heard Reynolds say, "All good, boss, just an accident. Dizzy cut his finger off, though. Acting like a dumbass again. We'll need medical, please." The Rings of Hydra, Chapter 14. Thank you for being here, your ears and your attention, your imagination. I love having you. A like or a subscribe would go a super long way. Very much appreciate that. Love you. See you on the page.